Sometimes you get to a point in a project where you kind of regret your decisions. And that's been going on with me for the last little bit. Nothing major at all, but something that's kind of, I don't know if it's an OCD thing or whatnot that I've been thinking about a lot. And that was the fact that I wasn't happy with the steering column that we have in the car currently. So I'll show you my reason why. This is the reason why. I don't like the fact that I was going to have a bump here when we took this shift lever out because we are going to go with a floor shifter. I also was looking for a tilt column, which this is not. But what I've been able to do, luckily, is track one down. Now, what I really wanted to do was buy a nice new one. But that is cost prohibitive at this point. So, I managed to track out this guy here out of a late 70s, early 80s Camaro. Everything seems to work. As you'll see, it is tilt 2. We did run into a bit of a problem. The end here had been punched back inside for some reason, so Tim and I pulled it apart and put it back together. Everything seems to be functioning properly. Now, the issue that I'm faced with is the fact that I'm going to have to make some new bracketry for that one because it is shorter than the one that's in there now. But I also think that the steering column that's currently in there is too far ahead. So I'm going to play around, get some measurements done, figure some stuff out, and then get this guy installed. And hopefully it's not too crazy a job. But came down to the shop early, thinking that, you know what, might be at it in a few hours, might not be at it in a few hours, so we'll see where we'll go from there. So I've got the old wheel out and I've got the new wheel in. You'll notice the return of our friend the jack stand to hold things up. It's sitting back a little bit further, but it's looking like all these brackets and stuff like that are very similar, close to the same, so I might be able to use the ones that I made and put on the other one. Also, my biggest fear was how far the end was going to stick out, and we have plenty of space here. So I'll be able to put my old bracket back on, and everything should be pretty good. So I'm going to take that part off the other one and see how things fit up, and this job might have ended up being a heck of a lot faster than I thought it would be. Okay, so I was wrong. We're not in bad shape under here, but these are going to be way too far back. So what I'm going to have to do is make some new brackets for this, which isn't really a huge deal, but it's going to be the same on either side. So there's going to be a bit of fabrication going on there, and then we should be able to bolt right back up. After a lot of messing around and redoing a job that I had already done, it is back in. Steering wheel turns, and tilt, and then I was also quite happy to see that I didn't have to make any adjustments at all to my bracket here. I just bolted it back down. So next up, I'm going to see if the steering wheel will fit and what it looks like. Stay tuned, you're going to enjoy this. So no luck on the steering wheel. I ended up buying the wrong adapter, so I'm going to have to order the right one. So one of the things that I've decided I want to do is take this mess here and put a nice patch over top. So that's what I'm going to start working on now. Just kind of tack it over. I don't know if it'll make any difference, but I think it'll look a lot better than it currently does. Patch is done, and patch done on the other side. Now I imagine I'll get a couple questions. First off, why'd you put them on the outside? Well, the reason for that was because I didn't feel like welding upside down from the inside, although I did figure out the reason why there were holes in there. There is some insulation in behind here. You can kind of see in there right now. It runs along. I'm gonna have to cut that out and clean everything, but what ended up happening was there was probably some condensation, got wet, stayed damp for a while, and then rotted from the inside out. I was going to just cut everything off, but I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to just cut out that problem section here, and I'm going to cut out the problem sections over there. And then I want to get up behind where I put the patches in the roof the other day, just to kind of see what I'm up against. Could be interesting. And there's what I pulled out of the corner of the roof here. So, get my light up. Can see right in there was exactly what I had thought. It was completely and totally stuffed with insulation and whatnot. So that's all gone now. There was a bunch of chunks that are kind of stuck down this corner here. As you can see, part of the frame is sort of rotted away there. It's nothing terrible that we can't fix. And really, if it's just one screw that's coming out, it's not a huge deal. So I'm just gonna try my best to clean up along here and pull some more stuff out. I don't wanna cut all of this stuff off. And then I'll zip over to the other side and do the same. And then I think what I'll eventually do, which isn't gonna be a lot of fun, is I'll pull this off here and then I'll weld in a patch. It's not absolutely imperative to do it right away, but at least it gives us an idea of what's going on. Cut up. All the crap from behind it was blown out. Vacuumed all that stuff off the floor. I'm gonna think on this. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Maybe leave this for another episode. It's not terrible. It's not great either. I would say in terms of any crap that we've ran into over the course of this project, this is pretty mild. The car was in really good shape otherwise. This is just really unfortunate. You can see here where it started to come through in the pillar, but it's still pretty solid there. My biggest concern is the fact that these screws don't really have a home over here and here. So I'm gonna have to come up with something. I'm gonna talk to Tim about that and figure that out. The rest of everything here seems to be pretty solid. There's no rot there. I think basically what'll have to happen is I'll take this trim ring out at some point and have a good look. At least there's really no holes from the outside. I did notice a little bit from my welds the other day, but those would be easily fixed. So now the fun part. I'm going to do two things. First off, I'm gonna move these guys. I'm gonna pull this out, I'm gonna take these switches out, I'm gonna fill those holes, and then I think I'm gonna see if those fit in here, and I'm gonna move that. That way, closer to the driver, easier access, makes it look a little bit less jumbled. And it's out. Means I'm gonna disassemble it. Is this moving backwards? I don't think so. Lots of projects have kind of shifts and changes in them. Things pop up that you hadn't planned on when you first started putting things together. I think this will make it look a lot more clean, and I like the fact that the switch that I did end up putting in the other day is a lot better labeled than I ever could have labeled this. And it's in, looks a lot better to me. The dashboard looks a little bit less clown car, I guess you could say. I don't know, all those colors and stuff like that looked weird. What I've got left is I'm just gonna have to figure out something to cover this guy up, which won't be a huge deal. Here's time for the big reveal, something that I've been wanting to get into the car for a bit, but what ended up happening was I had ordered an adapter and it was the wrong one, things didn't fit, so I had to wait for the other one to show up. So now, I've got the right one. Let's have a look at this. I'm pretty excited. This was a bold choice to say the least, but there is the steering wheel for the car. I think that'll look pretty rad. Definitely quite a bit different. So what I'm gonna do is get this all hooked up to my adapter, and then we're gonna see what it looks like on the steering column.
I love it.
All right, adapter is on, all hooked up, not super tight. Let's go and see how she looks in the car. And there we go. That looks pretty awesome. It's like it glows. Definitely an interesting choice. Now, I can't put it on tight right yet, and the reason why, we can do some turning, but when I go to spin the nut on and tighten it up, so it brings it down the splines. I have nothing connected to the other end of the steering column. One of the last things I want to accomplish before calling this an episode is make some cover plates for this area here. Guys are done, holes are drilled, small plates. So all I'm going to do now, bring it over, slap it on, and we've got our blankers, and that will look a lot better and clean things up. And there we go. Blankers are in, all bolted down, looking good, definitely cleaned stuff up. I think I screwed up a little bit on that one there, and one side looks a little bit longer than the other, but that'll do for now. So that's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. Make sure to tune in again to see what we're up to, and have a good one.